Let's have a look at some of the questions from your homework for Friday. This is from the Mind Action Series textbook. Alright, so we were working on exercise 15, which is on page 28 of the Mind Action Series, and we were doing these questions. So we have x over x minus 3 plus 2 over 3 minus x. When we are adding fractions, we need the denominators to be the same. We have a few steps to go through. The first step is to check for factorization. In this case, there is no factorization. The second step is to look for a sign change. A sign change is pretty easy to spot if you have two things that look very similar but are not exactly the same. The odds are that it is a sign change. So there are invisible brackets around this and around this. And to change this, we need to change the sign in front of the bracket and these two swap places. Here's a longer explanation of that. There is brackets around the denominator. When you take out a negative, you do your sign change in the denominator, but now you have a negative and a positive next to each other, which makes a negative. Okay, that's why the sign changes. When the denominators are now the same, you just subtract the numerators and leave the denominator the way that it was. Okay, for question number 2, we had x plus 3 and 3 plus x in the denominator. There's no factorization. And then your second step is to do a sign change. Okay, but there is no sign change because the x is positive and the x is positive. And the 3 is positive. And if you look here, there are invisible brackets, right? So the 3 is positive, it's just invisible. That sign does not belong to the denominator. It belongs to the fraction as a whole. It does not belong to the 3, it belongs to the fraction. So the 3 is positive, and x plus 3 and 3 plus x are the same thing. Therefore, there is no sign change. We just swap around, so you'll see that this sign stays the same. So now that the denominators are the same, we just subtract the numerators, and that's x minus 2 over the denominator, and we're done with that one. Right, for question number 3 over here, you see I put the invisible brackets around my numerator, denominator, and denominator. And for this one, I could see that a sign change was coming. So I did the sign change immediately because that makes the factorization easier. This is not necessary, and if you do need me to explain this in more detail, I'm very happy to do so. Just let me know. Alright, so I did the sign change here at the bottom in the denominator, and then I factorize my denominator. There's no factorization anywhere else. Now that we have x minus 3, and we have x plus 3 and x minus 3. So the LCD consists out of x minus 3 and x plus 3. So you'll see there my LCD consists out of both brackets. We multiply the numerator with what's missing from the denominator. So this one over here, for the LCD, it already has x minus 3. It's missing x plus 3. So we multiply the numerator with x plus 3 minus, and this one is already over the LCD, so we don't change anything. However, the brackets around here are very important. We distribute into the bracket. We distribute into the bracket here as well, and we simplify the numerator. Alright, then for question number 5. You'll see that we have an advanced trinomial here, and this is again one of those that looks like a sign change but isn't, because the 5 is positive and the x is positive. They can just swap places. So again, x plus 5 and x and 5 plus x are the same thing. Okay, so these two are the same thing. Right, so you'll see that I did my advanced trinomial by saying, okay, my factors are 2x and 1x for the first term, and then for the second term we have 5 and 1 and 1 and 5, and I had to check what will give me the middle term. Right, 2 times 5 and 1 times 1 gives me 10x and 1x, so that will give me 11. They'll both be the same sign, they'll both be positive. So we had 2x and 1x and 1 and 5 that we cross multiplied, and they're both positive. Right, so over here I need to find my LCD. We have 2x plus 1 as a factor and x plus 5 as a factor, so the LCD is 2x plus 1 and x plus 5. This numerator is already over the denominator, over the LCD, so it is left alone. This numerator is only over x plus 5, so we multiply with what's missing from the denominator, and that is 2x plus 1. We distribute into the bracket over here, and that gives us x minus 10x minus 5, and we simplify the numerator. Okay, again we need to factorize. Over here we take out the 6, and we have 6x over here. So there's no sign change, and we check for the LCD. We need a 6, we need an x, and we need an x plus 1. So the LCD consists out of all of them. And then here, this one is missing from the LCD an x, so we multiply with x plus that plus there. This is in invisible brackets. This denominator is missing x plus 1, so we multiply with x plus 1, and we simplify the numerator again. Okay. Over here, we need to factorize. We need to do our sign changes. This is in invisible brackets. This is in invisible brackets. We're going to factorize over here. And then just a reminder from previous exercises, 2 minus x squared is the same as x minus 2 squared. If you need an explanation on that, let me know. But you don't need a sign change because these two things are actually the same. You can just swap their places around. Alright, now we say, okay, we need for the LCD, we need an x, and we need an x minus 2, but this denominator has x minus 2 squared. We take the bigger exponent of the two factors, so it's x and x minus 2 squared. This one is missing one of the x minus 2, so we multiply with that. This one is only missing an x, so we multiply with x. That's why it's x squared now. And this one is missing both an x and one of the x minus 2, so we multiply with x and x minus 2. And I just wrote it neat and tidy. We multiply out and we simplify the denominator. Let me know if you have any questions about this.